Welcome, and thanks for joining us for this edition of Scope. Unity Mall Supermarket Limited is a newly established local business hub in PNG for like-minded people with a common goal and interest where they can unite through enterprise. The new innovative business concept is the brainchild of the PNG Christian Professionals Network, formerly TSCF, to support and develop into a center for PNG SMEs. Unity Mall Managing Director Clark Piokole said since it was launched in 2019, work has progressed well in establishing and creating business opportunities for ordinary Papua New Guineans. He said as an interdenominational Christian professional network, their vision is to positively influence the nation with the mission to connect, inspire, and empower through SMEs.
Unity Mall Supermarket is the latest hotspot in town where you can find fresh locally cooked food and check out art and craft products from various parts of PNG.
The idea of having a supermarket came about, and we wanted to have that supermarket as a place where, for so long we've been sitting back and buying it from our foreign brothers and sisters. And we're a consuming nation, that's what we do. We're good at consuming. We don't produce too many things. So what we said is if we're good at consuming and we're buying from our foreign brothers and sisters all the time, now we should do something where set it up so our people we can start to buy from ourselves as well. Just to give ourselves into the game. So then we decided that we'll start a supermarket where through the church networks they can buy shares into it. So if the people own that supermarket, they'll go to their own shops to do shopping. And for the supermarket, Unity Supermarket Limited, the vision behind that, plus the mall, is that we want to unite people to create a customer-owned shopping center or mall or supermarket and all these things. So when you and I, the customers, own it, that's where we're going to go to.
Conveniently located at the old steamships compound Waigani, Unity Mall is made up of like-minded Christian professionals under the PNG Christian Professional Network, formerly Tertiary Students Christian Fellowship, to share the love and passion of God and the country.
We saw that the need was there, and thank God for COVID. When COVID came about, it started hitting people left, right, and center. And rather than the network staying in isolation and all that, we came up and we thought, well, what are the opportunities this pandemic is presenting us? And then we realized that people needed food. Every other businesses were closing down or struggling, but food business was going up. And we just needed to find a place to set up. And then we came across the steamships compound with the big place that used to be formerly run by Pacifica Women Network. And because of COVID and they were struggling, they closed them down, and one of our guys was here in this place, and he said, hey, they're closing our business down. So then we said, how can we get it? Then we got into crowdfunding. So Unity Supermarket Limited, USL, a mall operates under that company, and that was just recently formed last year. When we heard about this place about to close up, we wanted to get the place. So we did a crowdfunding through our connections to the churches. And churches have come in and they put the money together, and individuals in the network as well. About 50 different groups, almost 50 I think. And they're the shareholders at the moment, but we're still offloading shares to at a keener per rate now.
Former career pilot with National Airline Air New Guinea, Captain Piokole, is now heading the network as Managing Director, Unity Mall and Supermarket. He explained that PNG CFN is not a church but an arm of churches with memberships across all Christian denominations, with a vision to positively influence through an effective network of Christian professionals, and its mission to connect, inspire and empower its members spiritually, mentally and financially.
It's become an SME hub, but we call it a Unity Mall, it's a shopping mall. We have everything here. What's helping us progress without too much of too much hassle is because of the power of networking, and the church is behind it. So when they know that they put the money into the place, they're coming shopping themselves. They're our customers. They're going back into their own shop, and that's how this place is thriving. We have just under 100 SMEs, and they're all hardly anyone's moved out yet. But that's the power of networking, working together, collaborating together.
In terms of attracting and building customer base, Unity Mall Food Court has become a favorite spot for the working class within the Waigani and Gordon's business centers, including families, with more focus on promoting locally produced and cooked food from various parts of PNG.
3 areas that we focused on. We want to get grouped that as that's the model business we're doing to support the local SME. Food court is one of them. The other one is a supermarket. And then you got the retail part of it, the mall part of it. So you got the mall, food court, which is in the mall, and the supermarket. So those 3 combinations are really bringing the customer base in here. So it's good to see the locals trying to present their food well and making it quality. So far it's been really good, and places like really full. We've got capacity to sit 300, probably 200 people here, but it just keeps getting full. Papua New Guineans, they want to do business. They really want to do business. But the problem is the environment or the avenue for business is not there. And that's why even this place is already full with 100 outlets or 95 outlets. But we've got another 80 or more people on the reserve list trying to come in. And I don't think they're going to come in because these people that are already here won't move out. They're doing fine. So we've got to now find another place for those 80 people.
On the issues of competing with or against foreigners in the retail and supermarket space, Director Pio Kole gave a perspective of why Papua New Guineans are not progressing in SME businesses.
If we start to work together and government can come in for some policy interventions, wherever that supply chain along that both sides of the spectrums where we are lacking, there's a gap. That's when we can speak up through the various organizations that are vocal for us, like the MSME Council, and then they can put it through the government, and government can come and build that bridge, or fill in that gap, so that we have from the producers to the end marketplace. If we can get that right, we don't really need anything from overseas in terms of food. And that's what we're focusing on here, is to promote the rural farmers, and even when we run the supermarket, the focus will be on fresh produce, fresh fruit and vegetable, fresh meat, things that are local, but we're going to try and raise the standard. We've got some really experienced people already being lined up to do that job.
The director said with the business now gaining momentum, Unity Mall has already got plans in place to expand it to downtown Mosby and Boroko.
Start here and get the model right. We're looking at another place in town as well. And so the people in NCD, and the central province, they can all buy shares and own this one's here in Mosby. Like a franchise, we'll roll it out to places like in Lae, and the Morobe people can own that one using our same franchise. It'll be Unity Mall Lae. This is Unity Mall Waigani. We'll have Unity Mall in town, or Port Moresby, and then you'll have Unity Mall Rabaul, Unity Mall Goroka, like that. And the people in that area, they will own it. And then they go shopping in the shop they own. They go to the mall that they own. And when we start, and then they go eat at the place that they own. So that's the model we're rolling. Yeah. So 3 ways: supermarket, the food court is a major one. Then you got all the retail, draperies, all that stuff. And then we roll that same model to different centers around the country. So we have a plan to expand everywhere.
Welcome back. Arriving 2 years ago in June to Port Moresby, former CEO of Paradise Foods, James Rice, before arriving in PNG, was told by many expatriates how bad Papua New Guinea was. However, having spent 3 weeks in a hotel room in Port Moresby was not an option for Rice, who was so eager to explore and experience PNG. As Godwin Eki sat down for an interview with Rice, he mentioned that one thing that keeps the Melanesians together, or in this case Papua New Guineans, was learning the Wantok system, commonly practiced in the Melanesian societies.
James Rice, former CEO of Paradise Foods Limited, described PNG as coming back in time through his visits to many parts of the country that also gave him a different perspective to what PNG was really like. He said Port Moresby is not PNG and that people are very friendly and welcoming. A total different story as to what he was told of PNG by other expatriates.
I arrived here and heard these stories. A lot of foreigners told me, don't go outside, don't go down the street. And I spent 3 weeks when I first arrived in the hotel, never went out. And after that, I thought, this is ridiculous, I'm going to go outside. Yeah. And I started walking around and started meeting people and discovered it wasn't what it says. It really is, depends on how you approach people. When you approach people with a smile and your hand out to shake hands, but actually PNG is really friendly. So I've never had a problem, and I've got to explore a lot of places. And then later on, when I learned the One Talk system, which of course you will know well, but I decided that anybody that works for me, I'm in their One Talk, and that I can therefore go to all their villages and all the provinces around, and actually, because I talk to them, I know where they're from, and so I'll tell them, oh, I'd like to go to your village, I want to go to your province, or somewhere. I'll go, I'm going to go to your church with you, and through that, I've been all over Port Moresby and to lots of provinces, and had some really, really great and very authentic PNG experiences that I think you wouldn't have if you didn't do it. And on my first day, I remember people telling me, they said, Chief, tonight is a famous rugby game. It was state of origin, and I don't know anything about rugby because I'm American. And they said, you're going to hear yelling, screaming, and gunshots, but don't worry, it's only rugby. And I thought, oh, what have I gotten into? And of course, that was very true. It was a very loud night, but it was all fun. It's all part of the color. It's the same, I think, if you go in any country, any new culture, that you have to learn the people, learn the culture. It's a matter of respect and being friendly. And it took a while. You know, any new job takes you about 3 months to learn. What are your customers doing? What are your consumers thinking? What are your employees doing? And so you come up this learning curve, and that's normal for any new job, and that was fun.
Our aunties and uncles, their hands are the ones that make these products that our people and our children consume. Even the Queen Emma chocolate as well, the water as well. It's all homegrown PNG made, and that's why we stand proud.
It took 3 months for Rice to settle in and to make friends and get to know his staff and management. But having spent 2 years in PNG and to experience and run a company through a global pandemic is nothing new to Rice. Having faced a similar situation in China, Rice, as CEO of Paradise Foods, was still able to run and operate the company. Through the pandemic, the Paradise Foods increased its sales up to 32% and added 175 new jobs for Papua New Guineans.
Ironically, it's my second time I've gone through a pandemic, because the last time I was in China for SARV running a biscuit business. So I have seen this all before, and we were probably the first company in Port Moresby to have masks and check temperatures at gates, because I knew immediately to do that. And after that, it was just a matter of keeping our employees safe, keeping everything clean, and really inspiring people and protecting the consumer. You know, and in that situation, I was at least the first, if not the only CEO that came out and said that I'm going to protect my employees. I'm going to pay them if they have to go home, which is true. When there was some lockdowns and they couldn't come to work, we paid everybody. Nobody lost a day of salary. And I also came out and said I'm not going to raise my prices. And I'm not going to let my customers raise prices on the consumer. So we protected the employee and the consumer. And I think that that people responded to that very well. People respected that our company stood by this promise during the year.
With SME being the focal point of the Marape-led government, Paradise Foods was still supplying its production and sales to its customers, particularly the SME businessmen and women who were still able to afford at a reasonable price and have their business going despite the setbacks of the COVID-19 pandemic. Having met so many people and made so many friends through his travels for work and holiday in PNG, Rice has encouraged many of his former staff, and when asked about his advice to young men and women of PNG, this is what he said.
Well, everything's different. You know, if you come from America, in some ways you're coming back in time. You know, sometimes back in time 5 years and sometimes 500 years. But what was weird to me was just how pleasant and friendly everybody is. And you know, I've been in villages where they shared a meal with me, and I know that they didn't have a lot to eat. You know, where 2-minute noodles were shared among 5 people, and I really appreciate that. You know, there actually is a tradition of Melanesian hospitality out there that you do not see in Port Moresby, and I try to tell foreigners all the time, kind of as a joke, that Port Moresby is not PNG. You know, you have to get out of here. You have to go out up in the hills and in the islands and meet these other people who live a different kind of life. It's harder than here, less money, but more friendly, more authentic.
Rice, who not only enjoyed the company of the people and places he visited around the country, he's also a keen motorcyclist who often, on his days off and holidays travel, would ride his motorcycle with his mates. As an outdoor person, adventure was always on his mind.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a saying that you can leave PNG, but PNG never leaves you, and it's a memorable place. I've always been greeted with great hospitality. I always had a lot of fun, a lot of great adventures. On the weekends, I usually grab a backpack and take off and go some direction in different places. I visited 18 of 22 provinces, so I've seen a lot. So obviously I have to come back because there's 4 more to to see. Yeah, it'll be a lot of memories to take back. Well, you know, I was normally a motorcycle rider, but not on dirt, on streets. But there's not a lot of streets here, so I had to learn how to ride a dirt bike, which is very different. And actually that opened up a great way to see this country for me, and because of that I got to explore even more, because on a dirt bike you could go where you can't go by car. And some of my best adventures and memories are from this. And one example is I went with a group of guys from Madang to Mount Willem, and if you look at a map you go like this in the country, but we went this way, which is not on a map. We went on like a foot trail by a motorcycle, and an incredible adventure. And of course we miscalculated the time and we didn't make it to Betty's Lodge before sundown, so we had to stay in a village, and we went to this village near sundown and said, we're stuck, can we stay in your village? And they accepted us and fed us, and we stayed there. That ended up being the best night ever in PNG. For what was actually a crazy mistake that nobody should have made.
To see PNG at its best and to feel what it's like to be out there and experience the raw culture and lifestyle of PNG was overwhelming and interesting, according to Rice. He said people were so friendly, and the smiley faces is something he will never forget. He will take that back to the state. The good news, though, is that James won't be leaving Paradise Foods, but will remain and become an executive coach for the Growth Project. He will step down from his current role for family reasons at the end of July 2021 and will transition to a new US-based part-time role for Paradise Foods as consultant in strategy, growth, and international markets.
The trick here is to work hard and work smart and just be a little bit, go a little bit past your boss's expectation, and you will make it. You know, there's so much potential in this country. What I see in general in younger people is sort of a lack of confidence, and almost people are almost too polite to stand up and say, oh, wait a minute, boss, I can do that. You know, I'm going to get this done. And so I would be pushing a little bit, politely pushing to step forward, stand up, and make a difference. Your generation is about ready to do that, you know, and it's in that scenario, it's a great place to be.
When we come back, Special Parliamentary Committee turns its attention now to sorcery accusation-related violence. Thanks for staying with us on Scope. Many recorded incidents of sorcery accusation-related violence in Papua New Guinea were triggered by the involvement of glassmen or glassmeri, a research report released by the PNG National Research Institute argues. The study pointed out that many glassmen or glassmeri operate in ways to generate financial advantages for themselves. However, there are others who believe they wield supernatural powers. The Special Parliamentary Committee on Gender-Based Violence has expressed that there is a rise in this particular issue, as not much is being done to persecute those perpetrators and hold them accountable for these vicious crimes against humanity.
Titled Sorcery Accusation-Related Violence in Papua New Guinea, the role of glassman and glassmeri as catalysts of accusation and violence, the paper captures the role of these diviners, their motivations and self-identity. It discusses the way that the glassman and glassmeri offer forms of proof of sorcery that they claim come from dreams, prayer, meditation or rituals. Research data was collected from Enga, Juaka, the Autonomous Region of Bougainville and the National Capital District. Glassman or glassmeri plays a significant role in being catalysts to violence as response to suspicions of sorcery, the report states, adding that overall, a glassman or glassmeri was involved in the accusation being made in almost 29% of all incidents documented. Their actions lead to individuals being falsely accused and facing a lifetime of stigma or physical violence. The research asks the question, what do we know about glassman or glassmeri? They are often called from outside the family circle to help address a suspicious event or death. Researchers also captured that those seeking the assistance of a glassman or glassmeri not only want to know what the cause of a misfortune was, but importantly, who was the cause? In the Highlands region, researchers recorded a belief that witches take the heart of their victim, can keep it, so if the witch is identified, the heart can be restored to the victim. Here, cases of extreme torture were documented. Across the 4 areas of research, the involvement of glassman or glassmeri has resulted in more violent incidents than non-violent situations. For a capital city, NCD records the second highest number of violent incidents related to sorcery accusation, much of which goes unreported. The Autonomous Region of Bougainville has reported that highest in the research, with 391 cases with valid data. So what exactly do glassman or glassmeri do? The main reason recorded in the research is to directly identify a person or people as having used sorcery, followed by diagnosis of a situation. Reversing the effect of sorcery. Research has even captured that a glassman or glassmeri's work can indirectly lead to someone being falsely accused. The study pointed out that many glassman or glassmeri operate in ways to generate financial advantages for themselves, but there are others who believe they wield supernatural powers. It reported that over 90% of cases documented, the glassman or glassmeri were paid. It was revealed that under the criminal law, this glassman or glassmary can be criminally charged as accessories in cases of sorcery, accusation-related violence if they can prove it. In addition, the courts have the powers to issue specific preventative orders to stop them from engaging in the identification of people as sorcerers. Even village courts can intervene and issue specific preventative orders to stop glassman or glassmary from making any statements about a particular incident. There have not been any instances of this law being enforced against glassman or glassmary as yet in PNG. The report strongly recommends that attention should be given to how to better regulate the conduct of glassman or glassmary in order to address the urgent issue of SARV in PNG. The Special Parliamentary Committee on Gender-Based Violence has expressed that there is a rise in this particular issue as not much is being done to persecute these perpetrators and hold them accountable for these vicious crimes against humanity.
That ends another episode of Scope, a kind reminder to apply simple measures to prevent the transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance.